Because town hall.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the November 19th, 2024 meeting of the Human Services Committee. First, we're going to hear from Warren County Youth Bureau, followed by a presentation from Warren County Department of Social Services. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 10:15, and I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes of the prior committee meeting. That would have been the September 2024 meeting. I've got it first from Supervisor Strainer and Supervisor Turner on the second. Any questions or comments? Call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We've got a couple, one action agenda item, and I think a discussion item from Youth Bureau. We have Sean Etu from the Youth Bureau here today, and also with the support of Commissioner Mastriani. So the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Director Sue Mowry, she had a last minute conflict that came up and she sends her regards to the committee. So I'm going to hop right into our agenda item that we have. We're looking to submit our resource allocation plan to the New York State Office of Children and Family Services. And then upon approval of our RAP by OCFS, we're looking to execute all the relevant contracts for the funding year, which runs from October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, excuse me. So OCFS allocates funding to the Youth Bureau that we then distribute throughout the county for local youth programming. And those funding streams specifically are our Youth Development Program, which is YDP, our Youth Sports Education Opportunity Funding, and then our Youth Team Sports funding. So if everyone wants to take a look at the charts, I was just going to note a few things on each one of our funding streams. So the total allocation amount that we received from OCFS this year comes to $101,913. And then specifically under our Youth Development Program, our YDP, we received a reduction of about $1,000 as opposed to last year. So that impacted a little bit of the funding. We basically just took that amount and kind of subtracted it from the programs that we have listed here. And then also there was one other thing that I wanted to know underneath the White House Crisis Service Program. You'll see last year we actually had funded them at $5,000, and this year we were looking to fund them at $1,388. And the reason for that reduction is they actually received a massive increase in runaway and homeless youth dollars. So actually they'll receive about $49,919 more in that funding stream. So that was why we looked at that. And all of these funds and all of these programs have been approved by our Warren County Youth Board at the last meeting that we held together. And then we're looking underneath the Youth Sports and Education Opportunity Funding. We're looking to fund 6 programs this year. And the Youth Sports and Education Opportunity Funding, we receive that every single year, and that comes from the funds that have been generated through the online gambling in New York State. And then finally, underneath the Youth Team Sports Funding, we're looking to fund 5 programs this year. And the Youth Team Sports legislative add-on, not every single year, it's a year-to-year basis. We're hoping that continues, but at any point that could come off. The Youth Sports and Education Opportunity Funding looks like that will be continued each year moving forward.
Motion to bring that to the floor. By Trainer and Supervisor Bruno on the second. Questions or comments for Etu?
I got a question.
Sure.
What's community maternity services?
So community maternity services, they work with a lot of parenting and pregnancy related things. And for a long time, Warren County, one of their missions was to look at reducing teen pregnancy rates. And so that's why we funded them year to year.
Oh, okay. They're located at the old courthouse in Lake George. Best office of any not-for-profit in Warren County.
The best?
Yeah, well, one of the best.
And if
Any other questions or go ahead?
If the committee is looking for more information on them, I'd be more than happy to send out more information.
No, that's fine.
Perfect. We've got a motion and a second on the floor. Any other questions? I'll call the question. All in favor of approval of the request, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Anything else, Sean?
I believe that's the only item that we had today.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You can move on to the agenda for Department of Social Services. And we have Nina and Julie here to talk about social services. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, everyone. So request number one is to increase our county budget expenses and revenues based on our Code Blue allocation. This allocation is from the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. This is to cover the amount from October 1st to December 31st of 24 for our agreement with the Open Door Mission that provides our Code Blue services.
Motion to bring this to the floor. Supervisor Runyon, Supervisor Bruno on the second. Questions or comments for the commissioner? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor of approval of request number one? Excuse me, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. Request number two, Nina.
So request number two is a request to transfer funds from unemployment insurance to the home relief program. This is to cover the expenses, the anticipated expenses through year end of 2024. To summarize this is really to cover our safety net expenses. And we do our best. Julie does a great job in our budget. We can never anticipate caseload sizes, so it's to shift our budget around.
Motion to bring this to the floor. Supervisor Strainer and Supervisor Runyon on the second. Questions or comments for Nina Mastriani?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so it looks like we're, for request number two, we're transferring $500 to the unemployment line item. $60,000 to, disability, or could you give an overview on this, what we're actually doing here? Which one?
You want to take this,
Sure.
Julie?
Yeah.
Okay,
What I'm doing is I am taking money out of our unemployment insurance, which we have not needed in 2024. I'm moving $500 into disability because we're over in that line. So then, we have quite a bit of money left in our retirement account. And that amount, the 60,000, is taken from retirement and added into our safety.
Okay. And then it looks like we're doing the same thing over here with, moving $500 into disability and then $60,000 out of home relief
Disability,
into, okay.
60,000.
And where is that money coming from?
The home relief is coming out of retirement. And the disability is coming out of our unemployment insurance.
Okay, I'm following on. Thank you.
any additional questions or comments? I will call then, hearing nothing, I'll call the question. All in favor of approval of request number two, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved, thank you. We've got a one discussion item, I understand, and then Julie's finance report. Note that this past week, a couple days after I received it, I did email each member of the Board of Supervisors a copy of the DSS activities and updates report for the month of October. So thank you, Nina, and your team for the preparation of that.
Sure.
You want to kind of update us on the family shelter proposal?
Yep, so just some background information. In 2020, the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, OTDA, mandated that districts develop a comprehensive homeless services plan and report the data every 2 years. The purpose of the plan is to coordinate services with a continuum of care to effectively reduce homelessness. Our county is facing an increasing number of families struggling with homelessness. Factors like rising cost, limited affordable housing, domestic violence, mental health issues, and substance abuse issues all contribute to this crisis. Our district primarily relies on motels to provide emergency shelter for families, but these placements often do not offer a suitable environment for family units. Consequently, our community is experiencing an increasing need for a family shelter that can provide comprehensive wraparound services. Through discussions with our community partners, my fellow department heads, OTDA, we are all gathering information to consider repurposing the county-owned building 25 on Gurney Lane for the use of a family shelter. While we work out the details of this initiative, I would like to share some information regarding the pressing need for such a facility and extend an invitation for you all to meet with me. So if you want to take one and pass it down, it's just some data regarding our homeless stats. So the data shared concerning the number of families currently placed in temp housing fall under the Temporary Assistance and Needy Families, the TANF program, which provides federal reimbursement as well as access to various funding opportunities. The establishment of a family shelter offers several vital benefits, including creating a safe and stable environment. A dedicated shelter ensures that families have a secure place to stay, which is essential for their well-being. Ensuring access to resources, families will have access to medical and preventive care, mental health services, and substance use support, which are all crucial for maintaining health. Providing educational and supportive programming, a family shelter can offer resources that promote education and skill development, empowering families to improve their circumstances. Comprehensive case management services. Families will receive tailored support to address their unique challenges and needs, facilitating a more effective path to recovery. And creating a pathway to permanent housing. By providing the necessary support and resources, a family shelter can help families transition to stable and permanent housing. And if we look at our data even further, we're seeing families in temporary housing longer. And when I say longer, the average is 6 months or more in a motel placement. I look forward to discussing this proposal further and exploring how we can work together to meet the needs in our community. Does anybody have questions? Sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead. How long can families stay in these facilities or proposed facilities?
In the proposed family shelter, it would be until they're successfully discharged or unable to stay in the program if they're not meeting eligibility requirements.
So it's somewhat unlimited.
But we would have supportive services in place where they would have a plan in terms of meeting their barriers of why they're not able to maintain housing. They would address those barriers and then we would transition them into permanent housing.
Good, thank you. Go ahead.
How many families can stay at one time at the location?
Ideally, right now, we're not sure. We're looking at 3 or 4. I'm working with the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. They have the shelter oversight and compliance. They handle the certification process. So they'll come look at the building again, let us know what we need to do, an idea of how many families we can serve, and then depending on grant funding, decide which way we want to go. So right now, this is all very preliminary, and I'm hoping in January I can bring some more specific information so that we can really make those decisions.
But it would appear that the need is much greater than we can provide. Unfortunately.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
What building are you talking about over there?
the one next to the Historical Society. So the one right in front,
The house.
the house, the old detention.
Oh, the old detention.
There was also the old WIC building and Community Action Agency was in there a number of years ago also, so.
And how much do you think it's gonna cost to make the facility, you know, able to house these people?
So I'm not exactly sure. I've been working with Kevin Hajos. We're hoping to get the state up to let us know what that's going to be and then go from there.
They have certain guidelines, the state,
Yes, it's,
is one of them like sprinkler systems or stuff of that nature?
yeah, so there are specific regulations
And
for
do we
that.
have sprinkler systems in there?
So all of this will, once I get the state up, they'll give us a run through of everything that we need to do. And then from there, we'll present what needs to be done and what funding is available to convert the building. So this is just an idea at this point.
That's all in the building code,
Right.
the requirements, and if I might, speaking of funding, is there state, federal funding available for it?
Yes.
Great.
And Nina,
The services will come to them, they don't, or do they then have to be transported to the medical service, the mental health services, whatever it is
So we,
their needs are?
right, so we would have case management on site and then they would work directly to make sure the families are provided referrals to the already established community providers.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a really great idea and the state would provide funding for it. I still believe I need to go back to the facilities committee because I don't believe we ever closed out where we were with the Joseph Warren Museum for Building 25. So I think we need to release that first.
Excuse me, if I might. I thought I saw something maybe in our board meeting Friday, or somewhere I saw that come up or was talked about closing that out. Maybe it was.
it was reducing a capital project. It
That was
wasn't
just
closing.
reducing the capital. We had funds left from the design that we did, so we just recaptured those funds. They were ARPA money.
Thank you.
Again, if anyone from the public, other board members are interested in the chart that shows the progression in the number of families who are homeless, I'll put that at the end of the table at the end of the meeting. Any other questions or comments for Nina? And then if not, we'll move on to the finance report. Good morning, Julie.
Regarding the revenue and expenditure report, this is through October 31st, 2024. We're pretty much on the target for the plan most of the year. I'm anticipating staying under budget for 2024. Last year at this time, I was sweating it out, but I think we're pretty good shape for the year end. I'm anticipating revenue coming in for one or with at least on the expenses, we're probably right about where we should be. So I'm anticipating that coming in as well.
And job fills and personnel are pretty solid. Good, okay, like that.
Overtime, we're having a lot of staff take advantage of the comp time, so that's saving a lot of money.
Great. Any questions for Julie Montero on the finance report? Any other questions regarding DSS or the Youth Bureau? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Supervisor Turner and Supervisor Bruno on the second, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?